You started about, what, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
5.5 years ago. And then everything changes about 3 years ago. And you go from kind of sputtering along to 10K MRR to like adding net $25,000, $50,000 MRR months.
Right.
What changed there? It's a pretty dramatic inflection point. There is no exact playbook for growth. Interesting, I love that.
I think a lot of times your growth is dictated by the market.
Word of mouth, though important, does not work when you don't have any customers.
I'm Dave, and get ready to scale or die. What's up, Growth Nation? Welcome back to Scale or Die. I'm Dave Rogamoser, your host, and Scale or Die is the show where we uncover proven strategies from CEOs and growth experts behind some of the world's fastest growing startups. Today, we've got an exciting guest. This is probably my favorite interview that we've done here. We've got Nathan Barry here, and I'm really excited. Nathan is the founder and CEO of ConvertKit, an email marketing platform helping creators make a living online. ConvertKit just recently ranked as the 72nd fastest growing company in America on the Inc. 5000 list, and surprisingly, he hasn't raised a dime of funding. So Nathan, welcome to the show. I'm
Thanks
excited
for
to
having
chat.
me.
So Nathan, I was thinking about this. You're kind of a paradox to me in a bit. ConvertKit has grown to over $1 million MRR, most of it in the last 3 years.
Yep.
Seems like things kind of shot off there. But you've only got 25 employees. And
35.
35, okay.
Yeah,
so 35 employees, which is still
10 of them
not,
we shouldn't forget about.
yeah, which is still not a ton. And yeah, on your Facebook, you know, if I look at your personal life, you like live on a farm,
Yep.
you do a lot of woodworking, you build gravel roads, and you seem like just kind of this normal guy, not this tech mogul.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're doing this differently than a lot of folks that you see out there?
Probably, but I think I'm so much in my bubble that it doesn't stand out to me that much.
Yeah.
So, I'm probably as far as you get from a Silicon Valley bro.
Yeah.
I think in the startup world.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's fun that way.
Very cool. Well, it's exciting to see. I feel like you've got strong opinions on how to grow companies, and
Yeah,
you've got,
for sure.
You're just you, which is really nice to see. It's cool to see that come out in a company, and I'm excited to learn more about that.
Yeah.
So tell us about ConvertKit. When did you guys start? Who do you guys sell to? What's your business model? Just a bit of a background there.
Yeah, so ConvertKit started, I guess a little bit before that. My background's as a blogger. So I wrote a blog teaching people how to design iPhone and iPad applications, then started teaching people about marketing and all that. And that's how I got into email marketing. And then I started ConvertKit to, basically because I was so fed up with MailChimp. And I wanted something built specifically for bloggers and online creators rather than for every kind of small business out there. And so I started ConvertKit 5.5 years ago. Very conveniently, if you're going to start a company, pro tip, January 1st of a year is a great day to start a company. So,
Why is that?
Because then you always know how long you've been around.
Well, that's true.
The math is really easy.
That's true.
So January 1st, 2013, I started working on ConvertKit. And so it's been 5.5 years now. It was slow going at first. And then about 1.5 years, 2 years in, kind of pushed in, went all in on it instead of just doing a side project. And then we've been growing from there. So.
And what did you not like about MailChimp? What could it not do?
There were a couple things. One, I was selling products. So I had a couple of ebooks that I was selling, and I was blown away at how well you could use email to sell products online. But I couldn't keep track of who was a customer and who wasn't. They didn't have a concept of tags, or I had people on 2 different lists, and then I had duplicate subscribers. And I asked MailChimp how to do it, and they explained this whole method to me. And I was like, that's great. And then I realized, wait a second, I'm now paying you for the same person twice. No wonder you're recommending this solution. And so as we got into that was frustrating. The other thing that I found is at the end of every blog post, if I had a post on how to use Photoshop for web design or something like that, if the call to action was join my newsletter to get the latest design tips, that would have one conversion rate. But if I swapped it out instead for an opt-in that was, hey, put in your email address and I'll send you all the templates for every example in this tutorial, the conversion rate would be 2 to 3 times as high. So just the idea of content upgrades specific to that article. And that was really a pain to put together in MailChimp.
Interesting.
Now it's much easier. I think, over the time there's so many opt-in plugins that have come out and made that easier. But I felt like that's something that should just be built into the email platform. So even little things like we built into our WordPress plugin the ability to, in a particular post, say, hey, this is the default, or this is the default for this category in WordPress. But for this particular post, I want to swap it out with this other form. And you're not like embedding a one-off form. It's just a scalable, solid system.
Very cool. And so you post all your metrics publicly.
Yep.
I check it maybe once every 2 months or so. At the beginning, when we started Proof, I was like in there every day, like, what's Nathan
and then you
doing?
realized that didn't help your
What's
business.
Nathan doing? And then I was like, I know more about his business than my own. But it's cool that you do that. And we'll probably post the link to that, with this video for anyone else to check it out. And I was looking at that, and you started about, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
5.5 years ago. And then everything changes about 3 years ago. And you go from kind of sputtering along to 10K MRR to like adding net $25,000, $50,000 MRR months.
Right.
What changed there? It's a pretty dramatic inflection point.
Yeah, so there's probably 2 inflection points to highlight in there. The first one is we were doing about $1,500 a month in revenue. And that was either flat or a little bit of a decline. Because everyone talks about how wonderful SaaS revenue is. It's recurring, it's fantastic. And if you don't replace what's walking out the door, then it does decline over time. And so we were in that state of it declining. And a friend of mine said, hey, basically convinced me, this was Heat and Shaw from Kissmetrics and Crazy Egg. And he and I had a conversation. The gist of it was basically, you gotta either do something else or really give this the time and effort that it needs to make it happen. And so I actually put a bunch of my own money into ConvertKit, all of our savings, which was 50 grand. And then made it my full-time thing. So shut off the blog, stopped messing with all of that. I was gonna let the ebooks and everything go into like a passive mode. That meant it went from like 10 to 12K a month down to 2K a month pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But then I started direct sales, started reaching out to people. Instead of using content marketing to sell, I started selling one-to-one and talking to bloggers I knew.
So how did you do that? Was that just grab an email address, pop it in Gmail, say, hey, you check out this thing?
Yeah, I mean, not much more sophisticated than that. So the first thing that I had to do was to narrow down a particular niche that I was going after, right? It's easy to make a product that's just email marketing. And you're like, email marketing for everyone.
That was your problem with MailChimp, is that it was email marketing.
Right. And so, but I was selling ConvertKit as email marketing. Because you don't want to exclude everybody.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to exclude anyone. And so the easiest advice to give is, you got to pick a niche and dive in on that. And it's the hardest advice to take because you're like, but then what if this person signs up and they come to the sales page and they're like, I would sign up, but that's email marketing for bloggers and I'm not a blogger and so I'm not going to. And so you just have to actually take that advice, narrow down, and in choosing a niche, I was able to change all the messaging. Like the sales copy starts to write itself. The way to find your own, niche. Let's assume that you have 30 customers, 50 customers. Just pick your 5 best customers, and then say, okay, if I were to draw a circle around them, who else would be included in it? Are they an e-commerce business? And so what's unique about their business? Like, okay, it's on Shopify. It's they're doing at least $50,000 a month in revenue. Some of these things that we're going to narrow it down and start to find. Okay, let's find more people like them. And the great thing is, then you can use that person as an anchor to go get more. So that was the first inflection point because it's really, really hard to go from $1,500 a month to $10,000 a month.
So that was the first inflection point. Get to about 10K, July of 2015.
Yeah, 2015.
And
so
then
2.5 years
something else
in.
changed there.
Yeah. So I had a conversation with another SaaS founder, and he had pulled off, they'd gone from $2,500 a month in revenue to $50,000 a month in revenue in 12 months. And he had a public blog post about it. And I ran into him at a conference because I saw that and oh man, that would be absolutely incredible.
Amazing.
To pull off something like that. Like that's fantastic, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, even if I could pull off a portion of that. And so I was thinking, there's got to be some secret to this. It's not in the blog post. Like, let me find out more. And I asked him, okay, what was it? And he's like, how'd you grow? And he said, word of mouth. And I just remember thinking like, that is the most useless, frustrating answer
Yeah.
you've ever gotten. Because like as a founder, what are you supposed to do with that? Awesome. I'm gonna, you know what? I totally forgot to pull the word of mouth lever.
Uh-huh.
And now I will do that and then I will see growth. And so word of mouth, though important, does not work when you don't have any customers.
Mm-hmm.
But then what happens once you use the direct sales and we got to about that 10K a month mark, then word of mouth started to be an actual thing. And it was like, oh, I'm noticing that people are coming around and signing up. And so that's when you just noticed that each sale started to get a little bit easier.
Conversion rates started going up, started seeing a little more traffic
it's still
on your
very
site.
little, it's still mostly from the direct sales
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. Like traffic to the site was still pretty low, but it's starting to work. And then in July, we actually on the same day, I'd worked on each one for a while, but 3 accounts signed up on the same day. There were, I don't know what order they signed up in, but had they been in the correct order, they would have been our biggest account ever, our new biggest account ever, and then our new biggest account ever. So we added $5,000 in MRR.
Was that through direct sales?
Yeah,
Okay.
all through direct sales. 2 were connections, and then 1 was through some cold outreach. So we went from 10,000 to 15,000 a month in MRR in a day.
That's amazing. All right, diving back into your bear metrics.
Yeah.
You guys have grown very steadily for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 3-4 months ago,
Yeah.
there was the first dip
Yeah.
there had ever been. What happened there? And I know you guys ran an experiment, and
Yeah.
just give us the inside scoop. Why did your MRR drop the very first time, and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, so it was an interesting roller coaster. Our business is not as consistent as we'd like it to be. Obviously, revenue always goes up. That's what I would say. Like we may have a bad month, but no matter what, it's always higher than the month before. So in March of this year, we'd done our best month ever, where we'd put up a little over $70,000 net new in a single month.
Was that your biggest month yet? Net new?
Yeah. We'd done 50K 3 times, but normally we did 25 to 35. Like 25 to 35 net new is pretty normal for us. Because our churn runs 40 to 60,000 a month. Just as you run 6% on $1 million.
Yeah.
March, we did our best month ever. And we're like, okay, this is all working. And we summer is always slow for us. And I think kind of having this prosumer customer where it's like, I'm all about my business except when the kids are out of school.
Yep.
And then it's time to do something else. So we had that first drop. Well, so summer is normally slow where we'd be putting up 15 to 20K net new a month. We changed our funnel in May, end of April, to go from credit card required. So it was a 14-day trial, credit card required. And we changed it to 14-day trial, no credit card required. And as expected, we started to get way more trials, going from 2,000 trials a month up to 5,000 trials a month. And the conversion rate went way down, all the things that you expect. Yeah. And we waited and watched it. In hindsight, we should have A/B tested it. But it's so deep and through the whole funnel.
It's a hard thing to do.
It's a really hard thing to A/B test. Especially because all of our onboarding about 14 days in after you've done all this other stuff is trying to get you to add a card, and the way that we built some of it just made it especially hard. So it was one of the things, we're watching the numbers, we're like, I don't think this is going well. But you basically look at 90 days after starting the test, churns should start to drop significantly because only the best people are adding credit cards.
And what was the goal of it? Was it more around churn or was it more around growth? Obviously, those are correlated.
Yeah, I mean, it's both. The goal is higher net new MRR and then more efficient funnels all across the board. And so it was like, okay, how is this affecting our webinar signups? How is this affecting? Like some of our webinar registrations just went through the roof I should say account creation live on a webinar. We had some webinars.
Because you're pitching just start this thing right now.
Start this trial
no
right
credit
now.
card. Yeah.
So it'd go to like 40%, which is just insane. And we were dialing in a lot more things on the webinars as well, but we were watching those numbers closely, and it just was not looking good. June, we were heads down, so we run an event every year called Craft and Commerce. It's 300 people, in person, so that's a whole thing. So we're like, okay, June's down because we've been focused over here. We had our huge feature release July 1st at the conference. There's a whole bunch more. We changed the name of the company and then changed it back. But we ultimately knew that short term it was costing us revenue. And so basically early August, we rolled it back and we went to requiring a credit card up front. And so you're like, okay, was this painful in the short term? Because all the credit card required people who signed up in April, May, I guess through April, were still churning out heavily.
Yep.
And then we went the other way, and these people who had put in their credit cards and were much less likely to churn were driving that revenue churn down. So like we dipped down to 1.6% net revenue churn.
With that cohort? Or with everybody?
Overall.
Yeah.
I'm still not super good at cohort
Yeah.
analysis. We, in this time, we rolled out an analytics tool called Amplitude.
We started using Amplitude here recently.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work to get all the data into
Yeah.
it correctly. And I've got a contractor that I pay a significant amount to just to
Yeah.
continue to chip away at getting all the data into Amplitude. So it's one of those things where I still don't fully know the answer to it.
So what are your takeaways?
What are my takeaways?
As best you can see right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have a different answer in 6 months. But why didn't it work? And are there certain companies that you think it works for? Is there certain things that you should have done? Should you have had better activation in the app?
Right.
Or what?
So we rolled it out and then fixed a bunch of things. So for example, we didn't have the best communication, and we have a small team, so this is especially bad. We didn't have the best communication between product and marketing in that case. So marketing said, hey, can you do this? And product said, yeah, hold on, let me get into the schedule. And then did it and said, okay, it's done. And marketing went, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. And the product's like, what are you annoyed with? We did what you asked us to do. But what happened is we had, in order to get the lift of no credit card, to get the full value from it, you need to message that all the way through from the homepage. And so the homepage didn't have any of that.
Didn't say no credit card. Which is, you'd get a big lift
You
at the
need
front.
that. Yeah, now the biggest lift it'll give you is in that moment where they don't hit the credit card,
Yeah.
But so we didn't have that lift initially. And there was like 3 or 4 other things like that just where the messaging wasn't quite right or the add your credit card email. So it took us a while to sort all of that out. But it took us a good 30 days to clean up all of that stuff. So the first takeaway, 1, get it to the point where you can run it as a test. Like, even if it's somewhat messy.
Yep.
We ended up switching to doing a pulse test because we still decided it was too much work to get it to where we could run a true A/B split test. So we started doing pulse tests where this is actually what we're in the middle of right now. For a week, we're running it no credit card, and then a week with credit card and back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And back and forth. I think we're on our 4th week of that.
Okay. So you're still giving it a shot.
Oh yeah.
You're not totally
Oh no,
traumatized
we're
by
constantly experimenting.
And you got to do that. It's like, what if it would have worked amazingly and it would have changed your entire business? It's like you got to take those bets, and this one still might pay off.
Yeah, some version of it will pay off. Our onboarding is radically better because we got away with some fairly mediocre onboarding because we were taking credit card up front. And so people were staying but not fully activating. But we weren't noticing that because they were paying us. And then they'd cancel after 5 months. And you're like, why'd they? Oh, they didn't do anything in the app.
Yeah.
And so now we've learned a lot because of it, but there's still a long ways to go.
Yeah. All right. I'll be interested in following up on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are in the final few minutes here. We're down to my favorite section of the show called the Salty Six.
Okay.
I don't know why it's called salty, but it kind of alliterates with 6.
Yes.
And so these are 6 rapid fire questions for you to answer, for us to get to know you better, learn a little bit more about what's happening inside. So you ready?
Let's do it.
You nervous?
Should I be?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This should be fun. Okay, number 1, what do you do for fun?
I play soccer and I build things.
And you do a lot of the little wood carving stuff, I see.
Woodworking, yep. Moving. I like a CNC machine because I get to combine woodworking and computer graphics and robotics.
That's cool. Okay. What's the best business conference you've gone to?
Business conference. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna give 2 because I actually think it's mine. Like legitimately think that Crafts and Commerce is the best one. But a lot of what we learned to make Craft and Commerce the way it is came from Chris Guillebeau's The World Domination Summit, which is only going for 2 more years. They're gonna do a 10-year run.
I've heard big things about it.
It's amazing. So
Very cool. Love it. What podcasts do you listen to? Business or personal?
yeah, I like Work Life by Adam Grant, The Tropical MBA with Dan and Ian. Ian lives here in Austin. Tim Ferriss Show. Those are probably the big ones.
Cool.
Yeah, Tim gets into some stuff like there's an episode with Jason Fried from Basecamp.
Mm-hmm.
And they like get into this whole thing about prairie restoration, and you're like, that was fascinating. I loved every minute of that. And I wouldn't have known to go out and search for that. So.
Amazing. Love it. What book are you reading right now? What's on your nightstand?
Oh man, I have a couple. I just finished Radical Candor by Kim Scott. We read that as a company. It's really good. We're trying to build this. We are building. Actually, Inc. Magazine just did a story about our culture of direct feedback. And
Cool.
So it was fun to
Yeah, I saw that.
fun to take some of those ideas through. I want to say American Kingpin about the Silk Road. That was a really fun one that I just finished. And then Principles by Ray Dalio. Those are the 3 that.
That's a good one as well.
Yeah.
I'll have to check out the American Kingpin.
Yeah.
All right, number 5, Michael Jordan or LeBron?
LeBron.
Okay, and number 6, if you could invite one person to a dinner party, dead or alive, who would you invite right now to make an interesting night?
Well, I think I gotta go with the first person that came to mind, which is Jason Fried, because I've just been a fan of his stuff for a long time.
You remind me of Jason Fried.
Yeah?
I feel like these opinionated, bootstrapped, gonna like hold on to these companies until the end of time kind of guys.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun conversation. I'd be fascinated for us to find all the things that we disagree on. So someday he and I will do a podcast episode, not on the amazing things about bootstrapping companies or everything we agree on, but instead finding the stuff that we disagree on.
Have you ever met him?
Yes. Yeah. I took the How We Work workshop at their office.
Nice. Love it. Well, that's all we got. There we have it, Nathan. Thank you for being on Scale or Die. This was awesome to have you here. And if people want to find out more about what you're working on, where should they go find you?
ConvertKit.com has everything for the business, and then nathanbarry.com. I've got the full. You can actually go back and read blog posts all the way along over the last 5 years.
And you're constantly like referring back to this,
Yeah.
which is cool. All right, folks, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next episode of Scale or Die.